Adventureman, the newest story to come from the creative genius that is Matt Fraction. And I say creative genius, and I mean it, because I love a lot of what this guy does. Almost everything, exactly. Like, I think he's a really talented guy, and I respect the hell out of him. So this book, I was really excited for when it was first announced. I thought, like, alright, you got Fraction, I'm on board. You got the Dodsons creative team, I like what they do for the most part, so I'm kind of excited to see what this is going to be. And I like pulpy action-adventure stuff from back in the day, like your Doc Savage, like your James Bond. I like that kind of stuff, I really do. So when this was announced, I'm like, yep, I'm going to wait for it. It was pushed back a bit because of everything going on, or was it? I can't remember. I might be thinking of another title I wanted to pick up. I really enjoyed this. It was kind of different than what I was expecting because I didn't really know everything going into this book. I kind of thought the initial idea was a little more, okay, we are gonna do like a legacy thing than it is just kind of like a storybook kind of thing. And it was still really cool. I did like almost everything we saw in here. I had a few minor issues here or there that didn't really appeal to me as like a fan of comic books, but I liked it. So the first half of this book is pretty much we are seeing the story of Adventureman and his team. And they are this mixed-matched bunch of characters. They all look very different and unique. They're all done very well. I love the Dodson style when it comes to like doing the inking and just the art in general. It looks really good. A lot of great and colorful characters. And it's your very classic comic book tropey stuff. They're attacking Baroness Bazaar, and like this important eternal clock says it's time to fight, and it's like the end of the world. And all of these superheroes go into battle. You see all their different powers, the magic guy, the ghost lady, the girl in a big old plane, and Adventureman, and they're all just kind of fighting there. And then everything kind of just goes bad for this team, and they all end up dying, and that is how the book ends. So we find out that the Adventureman and his group of heroes are actually a book inside the comic book, so it's kind of meta in that way. They are this pulpy adventure book that this mother Claire is reading to her son Thomas, and I think it's really cool. I thought that angle was really interesting. Again, I didn't know that was what was going to happen, because I thought, just based on like the brief synopsises I wrote, I thought it was like Claire is going to be the descendant of Adventureman, and maybe that will still be the case, but I thought that was really cool to throw in that angle. And then we just kind of see that Claire is like this woman who lives in a house with a bunch of sisters. They're not really related, and their father figure is this kind of wealthy guy and live in this huge house, and they're all these very prominent, powerful people. There's like a doctor, a lawyer, emergency fighters, all these kind of people that do stuff. And then Claire is just a simple woman who is just kind of living just vicariously through her son and also through her is it her stepmother who's deceased? Is it her bookstore? It's either her mom's bookstore or her stepmother's bookstore. And it's really cool to see that. I actually really like that a lot. We also see that she has a hearing problem, so she wears hearing aids, and I think that is really cool. It's really interesting for her characters because you do this great thing when you're doing something with that character, and I'm amazed they haven't really done it in a Hawkeye book before, is you just kind of like blur out some of the words so you can't really hear her say when she turns down her hearing aid, so she can't hear, and she's kind of tuning out all the noise to help her sleep. I think that was really cool, and I really liked her character. The artwork, again, I really like it. You can go back and forth on the Dodson style, but I think what really works here is just, it feels very pulpy. The characters are very, like, loose, but they also are very, like, lined up, and they're kind of square-jawed and everything, but it works really well. All the characters look of the time this is set in, and it's very, you know, that timeless aesthetic, like The Incredibles or like The Rocketeer. It's kind of like that timeless metropolitan feel, and it's really cool to see. I really do love the way this thing looks. It looks great, and Claire looks amazing. I think she is great. She's a really compelling and interesting lead. Everything about her works really well, so I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with her going forward. And while she's working at her bookstore one day, she gets a guest who, well, she doesn't get like a lot of customers, right? So she gets somebody comes in who is obviously the ghost lady, and I can't remember her name because when we're introduced to all these characters that were working with Adventureman, there was a lot of them, and they all had a bunch of names show up, and I just kind of didn't really remember them. I just remember her as the ghost lady because I thought she looked the most interesting, and instead of wearing white this time, though, she's dressed up in black, and she's like, I have this really limited edition book, you can have it. So, you know, see where that goes and what happens there. That was really cool. And so we're just kind of seeing that maybe not all of the Adventureman characters died. I think that's kind of interesting. That could be a really fun thing to see going forward. Who survived, who didn't. I think the obvious one who's dead is the actual Adventureman himself. or maybe he retired, did kind of like, you know, the Metro Man thing, where he just kind of just faded out and just stopped being the hero. We could see where that goes. I think that's a possibility too. But this was really cool. I'm loving this book a lot more than I thought I would initially, and I was very excited to pick this one up, so I was like, yep, let's do it, let's have fun. So the book kind of ends. We are seeing that Claire is now going to become whatever the Adventureman is, and she is just kind of in her room. She's got a bunch of cats, which is really cool to see because I like cats. And this like weird energy just kind of comes in. It's a bunch of bees and they're starting to swarm her. She can't really hear it or see it, so she just kind of let it happen. And I think it's a big signal saying that she's either going to be related to what's happening with Adventureman, or she's going to be becoming the next Adventureman type of person, which is really exciting to see. This was a really fast read too, especially for like 64 pages. I think it went by really fast. And I read the end of the book, you know, where Fractions is kind of talking to everyone. He's like, I've wanted to do this book since 2008, and I think that's really cool to see, especially from a guy like me who would love to break into comics, and just seeing sometimes you have an idea and you don't know when it's going to work, so you just kind of have to push it aside till you can do it. And I think that's really cool to see how this came about, and seeing all the concept art for Claire and all the characters. It was really cool. This is a really fun book. I'm definitely going to be reviewing all of them, I think, so you guys can stay tuned for that. And it's definitely worth your read. It's a really fun, different book from what you're expecting. It's very timeless in its feel, and it's just kind of pulpy, you know, and pulpy is good sometimes. This is good pulpy. So thank you guys so much for watching this review, and you can check me out on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter for exclusive content on Patreon and all that other good stuff. You can find me there. So I will catch you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for more, and good luck, be safe, have fun.